Welcome to Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings, with me, Gretta Chamberlain, and the Realm of Beings. Shifting Impressions, which is one of the vehicles that supports the transmission of the Realm of Beings, is here to assist you in delving into your being by providing numerous topics and discussions for you to intake as you deepen your connection with your inner world. Shifting Impressions is here to assist you in strengthening yourself as you excavate to understand your true nature. Join us today and learn to shift your mindset, shift your thoughts, and shift your focus to recreate your life and produce a new you. Shifting Impressions starts now.
Good morning, listeners, and welcome to Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings. I'm Carol, and I'm here with my co-hosts, Gretta and Kathleen, and of course, the Realm of Beings. We're very happy to be here on Transformation Network on Fridays at 8 a.m. Pacific Time, 11 a.m. Standard Time. These conversations that we have are to help you look at your creation of reality, how it shows up in your life, what you would like to change or shift to create the reality you would prefer. So welcome. And if you're new to this podcast, every week Gretta receives a quote from the Realm of Beings, which we discuss in detail in a usually very lively manner. And then halfway through the podcast, the Realm of Beings will come in and discuss it further. This week, our topic is relax and be healthy. And boy, do we all want that. The quotation is, practicing being calm so you can train your entire being in embracing a state of wellness and peace. So, okay, I'll go ahead. It immediately brought mental equivalencies to my mind because when we're not healthy, it's usually connected to the unconscious trying to tell us what's going on. And we've referenced books many times to our listeners, Louise Hay, Jacques Martel, where you can look up the mental equivalencies, if your knee hurts, if your tooth hurts, and you'll get a better idea of what your unconscious is trying to tell you, as well as there being suggestions on perhaps affirmations to do, or better yet, the QDRs, as Gretta has taught us, to help get you in the state of being healthy. And the calm part, that one gets challenging at times. If anyone has had to call anything that has a menu with the AI menus of, not being able to speak to a live person, and they ask you the same question over and over again, if they are recording like they say they are, they must say, this woman is crazy when I'm yelling at the robotic voice saying, give me a live person. So I definitely need to practice being calm and train myself to being in a state of peace.
Yeah, so I just want to piggyback on what you're saying. Then I'll, Greta can jump in there. It just seems to me that there's no way as humans that we can, from my opinion now, that we can totally release stress from our life. I've never met anyone that magical that could do that. And I do know that stress can lead to distress, which is a higher form of stress. But based on what you're saying, Carol, what I like was your last sentence. To me, it seems it's more important how we handle and react to the stress than the stress itself. Because a birthday party can stress you out. Right. I remember going on vacation. I was totally relaxed. When I got back, I was stressed out, distressed, and pissed off to the highest of festivity because I didn't handle all of the events and the people and everything else that, that went along with where I was supposed to relax. So some people come back like that. I don't know. It's how you handle it.
It sometimes is perception, and There are times where stress can be worked to your advantage. I know when I was working in an office and I had deadlines, and yeah, that was stressful, but believe it or not, it made me more productive. So some people actually can work well under stress. I think the more important part is the wellness and the peace. The peace is hard to maintain because you have to do it within yourself. And somebody like me, I'm like, every time I try to just sit and calm, my mind is going like 1,000 miles an hour thinking about things I did when I was 3 years old. And I have trouble calming it down. So that's where I have to practice the calmness and the being peaceful. And I think that in turn will give me a state of wellness. Greta, you're up.
Oh my. I enjoyed listening to you while I was really reflecting on myself. And I remember that I stressed myself out so much because I was determined to complete. I was working on a submission paper that I had to submit, and I was just working on it. I worked on it. I knew when it was due. I worked on it for 4 days, working on it, to the extent that I did not go to sleep.
That's not healthy.
I just worked through the whole thing, not thinking about what it was going to do to my body or my mind. I was basically thinking about, I've got to get this submission in, so I'm going to do it. I'm just going to do it and get it done on time. 4 days. The fourth day, and not sleeping. I was on 4 days and carbonated sodas with caffeine in it.
Ooh.
So I could stay awake. For 4 days, I did not go to sleep. So the paper is submitted on time. And then I'm thinking, oh, wow, that's over with. I made it. It's through. Okay, so what happens next? My voice teacher calls me when I was studying music. And she says, Greta, so-and-so's husband has died. I need another singer to come in. Will you do that for me? I told her, I said, Madame, sure, I'll come in. That's when I was singing opera, believe it or not.
Oh, so I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. So I went in, did my piece. I think we had 2 numbers that I had to sing. And so that kept it was a recital of her students. So she asked me to come in and sing. So I went in as a substitute singer. Okay. I go home, right? And I'm thinking that's fine. Okay, I've done that. I've gotten that over with. But I want to give the sequence of it. The 4 days staying up was then followed by me going to sing on this recital. Greta's just thinking about stuff that has to get done, not thinking about how it's going to affect her body. Well, I get up around 4 o'clock. Nature calls and says, Greta, you got to go to the bathroom. So I got up out of my bed. Soon as I stood up, my whole body did this.
Jeez.
It did. Just like that. I think, was it my right side or my left? I can't remember what side it was. Everything. In fact, it started from my toes. It went from my toes, traveled up to my toes, all the way up to the top until my hand was like this and I couldn't move it. I could not separate my fingers. It was just like that. So I said, well, I have a challenge here. And Kai was small then, too. So I called my friend. I said, I gotta go to the bathroom, man. I can't even get into the bathroom because my whole body froze. So I called my friend Fonnie. I said, Fonnie, can you come over? I told her what had happened to me. She came over. She put her coat on and she had her nightgown on coming into the house, because my daughter let her in. And she says, what happened? I said, I don't know what's going on with me. So she calls my mother. My mother comes over. Everybody's looking at me. What's wrong? I said, I don't know, but I just went. So, make a long story short, they take me to the hospital. They call an ambulance. I go in the ambulance. I'm sitting in the emergency room. The doctor says for me, you explain your symptoms. And he said, okay, well, let's see. We'll keep you here under observation. Did it happen? No. I'm in the hospital where it's supposed to show up so I can explain to these people what is happening with me. Nothing. So in the middle of the night now, I'm in the room with a lady who was in there because of heart problems. I think she had a heart operation or something was wrong with her heart. Man, here comes the feel. I'm laying in the hospital bed. Here it comes. Shh. Go. Just like that. And I said, oh my God, I couldn't move to the extent I couldn't push the button, that they have in case of an emergency. So she starts screaming, help, help. And then when she starts screaming, I start screaming, help, help. So both of us are sitting in the bed going, help, help. So the nurses come running in, 3 of them. And then the woman that's in the other bed says, something's wrong with her. Help her, help her. And I'm going, they all stand around me and they tell me, just relax. There's nothing we can do. And I'm thinking to myself, what do you mean? I'm in the hospital and you're telling me that there's nothing that you can do to help me, but it was STRESS, stress. So once I learned to relax, then it just went away. But I had to take medication and it lasted for a year before I was that. And what did that look like for me for a whole year? I love music. Riding in my car, I could not play any music anywhere. I don't care what kind of music it was. It could have been classical music. It could have been the softest music going. My nerves, my whole system could not stand it. I got to the point that when I had to dress myself, thank God it was kind of in the fall, I had a pair of gray pants. I wore those gray pants every day. I could change my underwear. I could change my top. After I changed my top, changed my underwear, that was it. I wore those same pairs of pants every day. My brain could not think of, let's change your clothes. It was an overload. I was through. That was as far as I could go. I wore the same pants every day to work, every day. It's a wonder nobody even noticed. And not only that, but they were gray wool pants.
That's because you taught in the Catholic school. You should have taught in the public middle school because they certainly
that was a public school. That was
really?
School I was at. Yes.
Oh,
I was at a public school, and
they didn't call the fashion police on you.
But so I'm saying that stress can do that.
Right.
Stress can do that. It's that I think the reason why I gave this example was because what I learned from this is it's important for me to care about me first. Mm-hmm. Everything else is going to get done, but to care about me first.
I agree with that. I totally agree.
Absolutely.
1 whole year it took me. 1 whole year it took me to come back to normal after that experience. One. I just blew my nervous system.
But sometimes, Greta, it's hard to relax and it's hard to know. A lot of people are here to, oh, just relax, relax. But it's hard to even know how to relax or to even see, even for me sometimes, speaking personally, to even gauge whether or not I am relaxed. I think I'm relaxed. And someone says, no, you're not relaxed. You're all hyped up. And I'm going, but I'm just having a conversation. Yeah, but you're like this. I said, I am, because you don't recognize that, you're not in a relaxed state of being. Just for me personally. And, what is a state of well-being and what is peace? It's the same thing as freedom. It means different things to different people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But the one thing is that, it's to honor. We must learn to honor ourselves. That's the biggie thing. For me, it was Greta had to honor Greta. Greta had to appreciate Greta. That was it for me. When I think back on that, and they thought I was having a stroke. But
that's what I would have thought.
It wasn't a stroke. It wasn't a stroke.
Mm-hmm.
It was due to stress.
Right.
We eliminated that.
Lack of sleep.
Not a stroke. It was stress. Because I never lost the capacity to be able to speak or move. It's just that I would freeze up, literally freeze up as hard as a wooden board. And you couldn't move my hand. You couldn't do anything. You couldn't separate my fingers. That was stress.
Wow. It's a good thing you were still breathing, because back in the day, medieval times, they probably would have thought you were dead and thrown you in a box and buried you alive.
No,
like some of them other people.
I didn't look dead.
Okay.
I was still able to think. My eyes, everything was working. The only thing is that half the side of my body, just half of it, got frozen, like it couldn't move. So I know now, like I can tell when I was studying for my board exams, I started feeling that way. It started coming out. I said, I'm getting ready. Some people would term it a panic attack. That it could be a panic attack. I think my doctor looked at me and said, Greta, I think that's what he called it. But anyway, I had to take medicine for anxiety. But I took natural stuff, L-theanine, which... I
have that. You recommended it to me. It's very good.
Yeah. It's a natural amino acid. Mm-hmm. And we're not promoting the use of medicines or supplements or anything like that on this program. But that was what I used later on, because I could tell. You can feel it inside your body. There's a feeling I had inside my body, and I said, I'm stressing out over this.
But Greta, Carol mentioned on her job, stress was good for her. So what is the advice for people who are experiencing this stress, whether it's good or bad or not? It doesn't really, to me, it's still stress to me. What can they do if they have to go to work and you have to perform this job or you don't eat? And so how do we, what suggestions can we give our listeners as to what can they do? Like if they're feeling stressed out on their job and you have to get it done. If you're in the classroom with 33 children, we're teachers and they just want to have an off day. You have to be able to manage their stress levels, your stress levels, your job. You can't just, I'm staying home today because I'm stressed out. It just doesn't work like that. Or people,
that can work anywhere, Kathy. Like with Carol's job.
That's what I'm saying.
You can. Well, the stress that I was saying about my job was more of like it was like a motivator for me. Whereas what Greta has described sounds like anxiety, which I take as a different type of stress.
Oh, I understand that. But the people working with you at your office, that's how you felt. But somebody else could have felt like Greta felt.
Right.
In other
That's
words,
true.
the way you managed it, it's how you reacted to the stress rather than the stress itself.
Right. And I used it as a motivator rather than something that
Exactly.
would
You
shut me
created
down.
to use it as a motivator. You created to use it as a motivator.
The part that I'd like to ask Greta about in the quote is train your entire being in embracing a state of wellness and peace. How can we explain to the listeners how to train themselves? Like, what methods would you recommend?
Right. That's what I was asking. Thank you, Carol.
You're welcome.
I think that things that I use for myself and things that I recommend to others, one of the things is to meditate, because that can assist you in calming down. One woman I was talking to today, I said, you've got to focus, calm down, meditate. But you never know. I tell people just meditate for about 15 minutes, because you don't know where the person is at the psychic ability level, you see. So I just give them a short period of time. And focus on, if you're focusing on peace, find a place in your mind that is peaceful for you and focus on that. I also suggest, and you guys already do it, is 432 hertz music. If you can go on YouTube and put in meditation music 432 hertz, and it's at that frequency, it's a healing frequency. So, and most people that I've given that to tell me they start playing it at night when they're going to sleep even. They start off doing it a little bit, and then I've heard people tell me, okay, I play it on my job, because it's a feeling, it's a healing. And if you concentrate on, I'm healing because I want to be in peace, declare what type of healing you want to experience. Declare that within yourself. I want to feel joy. So meditate, put yourself in a place that brings you joy, and stay there for about 10, 15 minutes. You'd be surprised.
I understand that, but there's so much happening across this planet right now that it's hard. I shouldn't say, I couldn't speak. It can be challenging for people to tune any of it out, to remember, to find a space where they can find that peaceful environment.
You know what I tell people when they say that to me?
What?
You know what I say to them? And I said it today. I said, did you brush your teeth this morning? And everybody will tell me, yeah, I brushed my teeth. I said, so then make that part of your morning. Just like you brush your teeth, you can go and meditate for 10 minutes. If it means you have to just get up a little bit earlier to do it, you can do that.
Well, when you get off work, you can sit down and relax.
Absolutely.
And meditate.
Rather
than grab a drink.
See, Kathy, what you're talking about, what you're alluding to, is discipline.
Yeah, okay.
To discipline yourself to do this.
That's the word, discipline.
You discipline yourself to brush your teeth every morning. You discipline yourself to comb your hair. You want to look good, when you're going out. Most of us, it's discipline. Discipline yourself to do this.
Putting yourself first.
The underlying of that discipline is you loving yourself.
Loving yourself.
How much do you love yourself? Do you love yourself enough not to eat that candy bar when you know it's going to raise your sugar level?
Agreed.
You see, It's disciplining yourself to do what you need to do for you. We're disciplined when somebody else, can you drive me to the store? Oh, sure, I'll drive you to the store. Off you go. You're quick to go help somebody else. But are we that quick to help ourselves? And I think
usually not. Usually not.
This is one this quote is saying, treat ourselves, pamper ourselves, men and women, and teach your children to love themselves as well. Somebody said, well, I don't want to be selfish. It doesn't have anything to do with selfishness. You taking care of yourself, sitting down and meditating. And see, then the other part of it is breathing.
Yeah.
The breath is very important. I tell people, to do the fire breath. It's a yoga technique, but it works.
There are different
breaths that for different people. But depending on the circumstance that you're in. But most of the people can deal with the fire breath, and which means you just, and then you soak it in through your nostrils and then breathe out through your mouth. And then you want to get to 2,000 breaths.
Oh.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't think I've ever made it that high.
There are people in their 80s doing 2,000 breaths. Yes. Wow. Because the breath is a healing unto itself.
Right.
The breath is a healing. Some people do it, where they cover their nose and breathe. And there are different kinds of techniques. So our audience, if they want to get into the breathing, we highly suggest that you get with somebody who could teach you that, or so that you can learn it. Maybe osteopathic medical doctors, someone into that, right? So they can show you how to do the proper breath that will fit for you. But the one that I usually tell people is fire breath.
It's funny, Greta, because I call it dragon breath. I don't know why, but that's what I think of in my mind instead of fire.
That's all right. I like dragon.
But you know what? What I like about that exercise, and because I'm expanding it now in my head a little bit, and I hope the listeners. Well, I know the listeners are listening. It doesn't cost anything to do those breaths, and it doesn't cost you anything to meditate. You don't have to join a gym, and studies show that, when you are active, even all of your life, moving around and enjoying being in your body and taking care of your physical body, you're right, it does take a lot of discipline. And when you're younger, it's a lot easier. I'm not going to lie. And, but, just going out for a 10-minute walk every day doesn't cost you anything. But we need, even if you're walking around your house, going up and down the steps, just moving and taking care of ourselves and our health will keep our minds sharp. Doing puzzles relaxes me, which is probably why, I was playing that little game on the phone right before you came on, because I'm able to just focus on nothing outside of myself, just enjoying the moment. So,
and focus, I think, is a key word here. What I have observed is that people who we would deem to be very successful people, regardless of what your definition of success is, whether it be fame or wealth or, just whatever people consider successful, those people seem to be very, very laser focused on what it is they want to achieve. And I don't think that's stressful for them. I think that's passion for them. And one of my issues has always been that I have never focused myself directly in one particular direction. And I have trouble meditating, as Greta knows. The realm has suggested to me to use a candle so that I have something to focus on.
Yeah, me
and
too.
that's what I do. Otherwise, my brain is just going like a little hamster on a wheel. So again, focus is key. Breathing came to me right away. Movement is definitely a good training mechanism. And just the affirmations about loving yourself unconditionally, the one that we've been taught to say every day. We love ourselves unconditionally. We forgive unconditionally. We love ourselves unconditionally. We feel ourselves loving ourselves unconditionally. We forgive ourselves unconditionally. Did I say it right?
Yes, you
No,
did.
you
But
missed something.
I missed something, didn't I?
thank you, thank you, thank you, we thank you. And but
We
the
thank
other
you,
thing
right.
that came to me when you were talking about successful people is Einstein and Jobs and quite a few of the shamans, a lot of other leaders, Nelson. They go off. They have their quiet times. They go off at someplace and they sit and they're quiet and they just they're meditating. You know, they weren't calling it that. I guess they called it just thinking, but they just quieted their minds and they waited for the information to come. It was their way of thinking. And I have more success. The candle didn't quite work for me, Greta. I'll be honest with you. But that's why I like getting in a tub. Something says get in the tub. And that's where I can really just clear and focus and start going, having those things coming to me, those aha moments a lot. And I go, oh, okay, that's why that's that way. But that's my way of relaxing. And a lot of
But you
people go
figured
to
it
it.
out.
Right, I
You
figured it
figured
out. And
it
that's
out.
what people need to figure out what works best for them. Does running work for you? Does listening to music on your headphones work for you? Whatever brings you peace and joy and relaxation is what we need to do. Carol, I think you're up for that break, buddy.
I believe you are correct. And I would like to invite our listeners to stick with us. We'll be right back. And when we return, the realm will be here for their input on this quote. Thank you again for being here with us on Transformation Network. Welcome back, listeners. Thank you for staying with us. We are at that part of the podcast where the realm will come in and weigh in on the quote that they've provided to Gretta this week, which we've been discussing. Before we invite them to speak, however, I would like to remind our listeners about our good friend Alan Steinfeld, who has a book called Making Contact, which Kathy's showing. He will be a guest with us on June 14th to discuss this book. You can read about it on Facebook, on Instagram, and of course on therealmofbeings.com. So please check out Alan and his book and join in on that June podcast so you can listen to him speak about it. In the meantime, Realm, are you with us?
Absolutely, Carol.
Thank you for your patience. This week we're discussing your quote, relax and be healthy. Practice being calm so you can train your entire being in embracing a state of wellness and peace.
You know, various cultures around your planet have different ways of living that help them to not be so stressed out. Like some communities, some cultural communities, take a nap. Everything shuts down and everybody takes a nap and rests, and then gets up later on to deal with the rest of the day. Some other cultures and communities, they don't move like little mice. They slow down their pace and take their time. Like here, even in this country, you can go down south, as you call it, and you're going to see that the pace is possibly in certain areas slower than the pace that you're going to be facing if you're in the north or if you're in the east or the west for that matter. So here in this country, right here, you can see differences. And how do people approach the movement of their lives? Because it's your movement that's also going to affect you. Oh, I've got to get this done. Oh, I've got to go here. I've got to go there. Oh, I have so much to do today. You see, that verbiage is already adding to a stressful situation. I got to get this. I got to do that. No, you don't have to do anything. You can slow the pace down for yourself. Give your physical bodies a break.
You know, Rel, that's interesting.
Physical bodies, give them a break. Give your mind a break. Think of beautiful oceanic waters. Think of laying on the beach. Think of sitting in the rainforest, listening as you watch a waterfall. Enjoy the earth as well. Take your shoes off. Ground yourself to Mother Earth. Walk in the sand, you see. Carol, you were going to say.
I was just going to say how ironic that you mentioned movement when Gretta's example, when she didn't heed how to put herself at peace, her body reacted by not being able to move. So that was a wonderful example on her part and a direct correlation to what you're telling us. She's living proof. Yeah.
Absolutely. And you have a phrase also, you are what you eat. We've heard that. We find that fascinating. You are what you eat. So that you're realizing that diet, how you eat, is also important and assists in your calmness. You see. Some people use other natural means, but we're focusing on natural means that provide optimal health for you. Optimal health. Because you can do other things that make you chill out, but they're not necessarily providing you with optimal health.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
They're talking about things that help your body feel good, help your mental feel good. Your mental is as important as your physical.
Even more so.
Yes, but get this, your physical condition can impact your mental and vice versa.
True.
You see, but the idea is peace is attainable. It is only unattainable when you believe it's unattainable. Because you are what you believe. If you believe that you can slow your pace, you don't have to be that rat in the maze. You can be calm, you can move slowly if you so wish, because you can create the situations that give you the opportunity to move slower. See, moving quick and being stressed out, losing your hair and all this kind of stuff, that is your creation of reality. You have chosen that. Gretta chose not to sleep for 4 days. That was her creation of reality. She wanted to learn something, and, well, she learned her lesson. You see, I know she didn't like what happened to her, because we had to sit back and look at her go through all that. There was nothing, we couldn't take her by the hand and say, okay, it's all right, Gretta, you're going to be all right. So what if you try to fry your nervous system? You see, we just sit back and say, well, there she goes. And we sit back and we watch her. We honor her to go through that challenge, like we honor anyone who has chosen any challenge that they so desire to experience. But we highly suggest seek peace in your lives. And all of those emotions that reverberate with the peace, such as joy, such as happiness. Relax. Some people have to train themselves, and that's okay. Train themselves to relax. Like Kathy was saying, alluding that some things are easier to be said than done. You know, we can understand that. But the thing is, train yourself. Somebody, I think Gretta was the one that used about brushing your teeth. If you brush your teeth in the morning, you're religious about that. You don't want your teeth to fall out or whatever. You're going to take care of them as much as you possibly can. So take care of your whole physicalness, because every cell in your body is affected by your choices of stress. You think maybe your physical body, you are your body, so you're seeing yourselves as being the ones to be stressed out. You don't realize that you are providing a stressful opportunity for every cell in your body to feel the same way. They're there to support you. So they will support you in your stress. Look how Gretta's body supported her. You see. So it's there. Therefore, don't teach them, stress me out, body, stress me out. Stop saying that and start saying, I love myself unconditionally, and show to me cells of my body that I love myself. Show me, support me in me loving myself. You see, because when you go through a disease, because stress for your humanoid body causes dis-ease. It causes that in all kinds of ways, shapes, and forms. Rashes on your bodies usually come from stress. All kinds of things, ulcers, stress, gastritis, stress. You see. Loss of hair, stress. You see. Acne, stress. Stress is really an interesting phenomenon. Very interesting. But it's one that you can handle. Otherwise, it's going to handle you. Meditation, breathing techniques, diet, exercise. Yes. Now, there's an old adage that humans say, now you're cooking with gas.
We say Crisco.
Is that still around?
You know what, Rel? I haven't fried anything in lard or vegetable oil in years, but I don't know. But I think so. I have a question though. Emotions. Yeah. Emotions are species. At least that's my understanding. So stress is an emotion, and therefore, is it a species as well? Or am I incorrect?
We are teaching Gretta at this point that to look at everything as living, because everything is the force. The energy is one aspect of the force, and everything is made from energy. Therefore, everything is living. So to answer your question, Kathleen, you are absolutely correct. It is an entity. It is a species, just like you are.
And it wants to eat, so it needs our stress. So stress needs a certain kind of energy. Well, actually, because it doesn't have to be negative, or I don't want to separate it, because like I said, stress, it depends on how you want to handle it.
Absolutely, Kathleen. It's how you use anything.
Okay.
How do you use something? Carol said she used stress to assist her in getting her work done. You see. Gretta used stress to get her work done, but she did it to the nth degree. In other words, Moderation is a good way of looking at this.
Good point.
Moderation.
Mm.
She went to the nth degree. In other words, she went overboard.
Mm.
That's not funny.
Carol did not go overboard. She just used it for that period of time to get that particular part of her work finished.
Exactly right. And then when I was done, and I left it there. And I came home and I relaxed.
Absolutely. Hooray for
al-
you, Carol.
Thank
Hooray
you.
for you.
I can't always say that that's how I've done it, because sometimes I've handled stress in a much better way than I have at other times. Sometimes, depending on what the stress is, I will admit I've blown a gasket, and that was my release. My but look, I'm working on it. I am a divine being in progress.
Did you ever repair your gasket after you blew it?
I haven't the foggiest idea, to quote Greta. I would say that I have. I would say, because yes, I have.
And how did you do that?
I changed. I calmed myself down, and sometimes I've laughed at myself, like when you said that anger causes accidents, and I said, gee, I want to know. And then when the person did what I knew that they were going to do, and I blew the gasket, I messed my car up, and when I got to the supermarket, I had to laugh, and that was my way of calming, walking through that space, and realizing that I created that, and I put the gasket back together. And when they said, "Oh, so you blame me for your car?" I said, "Absolutely not. I blame myself." But the look on their faces was priceless. So, to answer your question, that's a good example that I could give you when I repaired the gas, because I was able to calm myself down and understand that I created that, and I learned from it. You were right. Anger does cause accidents. So now I watch what I say.
Watch what you say. Watch those feelings that come over you.
Right. And I think different people, Kathy, I think you hit the nail on the head when you said learned, because even stress, everything we do is for our learning. And there are more pleasant ways to learn things than to get in accidents. But sometimes we have to do it that way to learn the lesson we mean to learn. So,
like Greta with her, she had to learn.
Exactly.
Don't
Don't underestimate healing yourself either. And I have a perfect example of what I did this week. On Monday, I suddenly did not feel well, and I felt feverish. And when I took my temperature, I did indeed have a fever. So I took some Tylenol, and I said, I'm going to take a nap. And when I wake up, I will be all better. And that's exactly what happened. I woke up, the fever was gone. I felt fine, no residual remnants of whatever was ailing me in the first place. So
wonderful.
Calming yourself can also mean healing yourself.
It is a mechanism for healing.
Right.
And you know
anything that you create that will change your environment to make things more peaceful, that is a healing that you are doing on yourself. To relieve stress is a healing. Be it that you walk the beach, be it that you sit in front of your television sets or computers and watch Netflix. You see, or those individuals that are called comedians. Now, those people are funny.
Yes, they are.
I enjoy some of their bantering myself, even though I'm not human, but I can take on a human characteristic. So one of the things I take on is ha.
Laughter is the best medicine.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't do it often, though.
You should indulge. You should definitely indulge yourself.
Oh, life itself, be regardless of how your life is indulging in the force. So that is a good word, Carol. I like that. Indulging. Oh, yes. Movement internally into yourself. Finding the peace inside of yourself. Finding the joy inside of yourself. Finding the calmness inside yourself. That's where it is.
And Realm, we're born with that ability anyway, because what hit me in my head very gently was what a baby does when it sucks its thumb, to comfort itself.
Absolutely. It knows that. It has a feeling. You see, you're born, you come here with everything. You are the ones that decide what you're going to use and what you're not going to use. That is your decision. That is in the creation of your how. That is how you learn your lessons. Some of you came in here with the idea of learning how not to be stressed. That is a lesson unto itself. So we encourage your audience and those that they tell about this podcast, we encourage you to be in peace, to be in calmness. You don't have to create situations where you are living in an environment where people hate each other, or living in an environment where people are constantly screaming at each other or calling each other names and whatever, derogatory names in whatever language they speak. You see.
And even if you grow up in that, you can still control how you behave.
Absolutely, Carol. Because you're the only one who's in control of yourself.
Exactly. Realm, I'd like to point out, and maybe this would be good for everyone to hear, you definitely have used the word peace a lot, which I appreciate. It is in the quote. And as most people know, right now in the world, there are a lot of places that are not in peace. And just as a reminder, if every one of us could focus on peace for ourselves, which is all we're capable of doing, imagine if every person on the planet did that. What would happen to war? What would happen to famine? Everything would disappear because we would all be working in peace on ourselves, for ourselves, which in turn is for everyone, because we're all the force anyway.
Now remember, Carol, create, support, create.
I swear I'm going to get that tattooed somewhere.
If you are,
I don't know what body part I have left to do, but
if you are in peace yourself, others must support you in that. But before you can have peace inside your environment, you must have peace inside the internal environment. You see, because when you have peace in the internal environment, those who are external can only support you where you are internally. And you might say, oh, so-and-so treated me much better today. So then you think,
you treated yourself much better.
Absolutely. Because that person must change to fit where you are at. That's why we keep telling people every podcast, love yourselves, love yourselves, love yourselves.
And with that realm, next week, audience, the title is Remembrances. And this is piggybacking right on what we've learned today, how to relax and be healthy. Many have chosen to transition through the process of sacrificing themselves. Showing acceptance and appreciation for their choices is showing unconditional love for them. Release the presence of sorrow from your life and honor those who have transitioned with the intent of helping others. Back to you, Carol.
That's going to be that's a nice topic to look forward to. I'm going to enjoy that one. Realm, we're on our way out. Do you, besides everyone needing to love themselves unconditionally, any last words you'd like to leave with the audience?
Our last words would be control the stress instead of having the stress control you.
Perfect. Perfect. I'd like to thank Gretta, Kathleen, the Realm, and Transformation Network for allowing us to have this wonderful podcast called Shifting Impressions. And we will be back next week. Listeners, thank you again for joining us until we create each other again.
Once again, thanks for joining us at Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings on TransformationTalkRadio.com. As you have explored today's creation of reality experience with the Realm and me, Gretta, each of you is being supported by us in further developing the understanding that you are not just an individual existing in linear time and space, but a multidimensional force of infinite possibilities who is connected to all. So begin to create the realities you want. Join us every Friday at 8 a.m. Pacific Time and 11 a.m. Eastern Time on Shifting Impressions at TransformationTalkRadio.com. So long until we create each other again next Friday.